All right, guys, welcome back for another one. Thanks to Ronald, we have what I'm going to refer to as amp number 2 from Ronald. It's the Audiopipe APCLE-18001D. All right, let's take a look at this thing. I've already done the APCLE 1500. My son had that amp that he bought used from a friend of his, and it's a good amp. It did its numbers. It beat its numbers. Pretty solid amp. So this is, I guess, the next size up, being the 1800. I expect it to do well. They've written some stuff here on the box. You got the IASCA and all that kind of stuff on there. It says now with up to 16 volt input capacity. So there's some specs. There's no power specs right there. What else do we have? So this is a used amp. Keep in mind, this is not brand new. That's why the box and everything else is not going to look new. But here's the owner's manual. We'll get to more about that in a minute. They have the bass knob and cable. I'll be honest with you, I always thought this was kind of a funny looking bass knob. No lights at all. I will say this, it is smooth and it is metal, but it is just the 3.5 millimeter jack on that, and product registration, and the rest there is just packaging. All right, well, there she is. You know, their amps, they're a little long and skinny is the way that they make their amps, and this one is definitely no different, because for an 1800 watt amp by today's standards, this thing is pretty long. Pretty big overall for an 1800, to be honest. But while we're here on the end, let's check this out. We got some 0 gauge inputs. I like that. There's the outs. Those are, I'll be honest, guys, that's a 4 gauge on the speaker. You just get one of each. Of course, the remote there in the middle. Now that remote is, I'm gonna call that an 8 gauge. Pretty sure that's an 8. There's what it says. Pretty hefty. It's definitely got some weight to it. On this end, we have a power and protect light. There's that 3.5 input jack for your bass knob. Inputs and outputs, RCAs. And gain, low pass, subsonic, bass boost frequency, and bass boost. So most of the things you normally see, I do. It does have the metal dials there. I like that. It's pretty good. What about the bottom? You can see through the bottom there quite a bit. I'm seeing a couple of huge transformers. Some really beefy looking internals there. Probably not going to take the back plate off of this one. It's not my amp, but anyhow, let's get this thing wired up. I will tell you this, guys, if you watched the Orion video, you'll know a little bit about what happened there. And I'll just tell you, I will not be going below 1 ohm on this amp, that's for sure. Anyhow, I'll quit yakking. Let's get this thing wired up and see what she does. All right, real quick while we're at it, here's the amp we have, APCLE 1800. There's the power ratings. 750 at 4 ohms, 1150 at 2 ohms, 1800 at 1 ohm. The input level there, you see from 0.2 to 5. We often see 0.2 to 6, but this is sufficient. Our input voltage is going to be around 4 volts. What else is important here? All of these things are somewhat important. There's all the crossover settings and all of that. Anyhow, there's the 3000. That'd be cool. Be cool to check out the 3000 watt model. So anyhow, all right, let's wire it up. All right, this is going to be the 4 ohm run, rated 750 watts. We're starting off at 14.8 volts. We're capturing the current, but I am clamped over here like this. The test bench pulls 7 amps without the amp being on at all. So let's take 7 amps away from whatever reading we get at the end. I still have not turned this amp on yet. Let's do that right now. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Everything is looking great. All right, this is a Class D monoblock made for subwoofers. So this will be 40 hertz. Here we go. Are we going to see 750? Uh-oh. 691. The voltage didn't drop below, it didn't drop below 14.7 at least, and we pulled 82.9 amps of current. So we fell a little short on that run. Supposed to do 750, and it did 691. Let's do the dynamic test. All right, what's it gonna do? Dynamic, here we go. 750 is what it's rated. Okay, 745. Still fell a little bit short. But this might be one of those amps that exceeds at 2 ohms and exceeds at 1 ohm. But we gotta call this a loss at the 4 ohm run. But let's see what we do at 2 ohms. All right, 2 ohms, it's supposed to do 1150. So let's see if we can get that. Y'all know I forgot to turn the amp on. All right, here we go. $11.50. 1204. Okay, the voltage dropped to 14.5 and we pulled 152.9 amps of current. All right, it did its numbers on that. So, but let's do 2 ohms dynamic. 2 ohms dynamic. Here we go. All right. 1358. Okay, cool. All right, let's do the 1 ohm test. All right, 1 ohm, 1800 watts. We're starting off at 14.8 volts. Let's do it. Will we see 1800? Yes. 1876, the voltage dropped to 14.3 and the current draw was 263.2. Wow, okay. All right, good deal. Let's do 1 ohm dynamic. All right, 1 ohm dynamic. Here we go. Nice, wow. It does have some headroom there. 2298. That 2413 was as I was turning it back down. That 2298 is what I'm going to consider the number. But that is that was a pretty nice little jump, some decent headroom there. The voltage dropped to 14.3 on that. All right, pretty cool. Pretty stout amp. But I will say this, I looked this amp up on Amazon a while ago and it's $207.61 today. So $207.61. Of course, they'll hit you with tax on that. So you can get a solid 1800 watts out of this. But by today's standards, for over $200, I think you can probably get a lot more than 1800 watts out of some other amps. but it is a pretty good amp, I'll say that. Let's wheel this thing over to the SCAR 12s and see what it sounds like on a couple of SCAR SDR 12s. All right, here we are. Let's check out these two SCAR 12s. We're monitoring our voltage here too, by the way. I may show a little clip of what these are doing after we listen to this thing first. But all right, let's get to it. The two SCAR 12s up there on top. All right, let's start the track over. There we go. All right, guys, pretty stout amp on a couple of entry-level 12s like that. You can slam a couple of entry-level 12s. I didn't turn it up all the way. I don't think those subs wanted very much more than that. Anyhow, 1955, you know, on music, rising to 1.5. That's pretty good. This amp definitely has some power. It has some good headroom. And it performed well. I may do that again and just keep the camera on these meters and let y'all see what this looks like. All right, guys, just wanted to show y'all what the voltage is doing here during a demo like that over here at the subwoofers. All right, here we go. Okay, a couple of things. Number one, I'm impressed with this, that it can keep up. It's not as fast as the SMD, but it's just as accurate, and it does still capture those voltage drops. Even though they're just a split second during those bass drops, it's still capturing what it drops to. So it's pretty fast. That's just been neat to confirm. We did get a little over 2K on that run there. Also, guys, you need a little bit of electrical to run an amp this size. You're not going to get that much power if you put an amp like this in a vehicle with stock electrical. You'll never get it, and your chances of blowing a big amp is easier. You can blow a big amp easier than you can blow a small amp, because you'll be starving it for voltage and current. So anyhow, all right, let's get back over there where we normally do our testing and talk about this amp for just a few more seconds. All right, Ronald, thanks again, buddy, for letting me borrow these amps from you. So this one here, there's a number of different numbers that I could give this one. I think let's give it the 1876. That was at 40 hertz, of course, 1 ohm, and that was uncertified. Pretty stout amp. I don't know, I like it. It's built tough. It's pretty solid. And but anyhow, guys, make sure that you check out what we got coming up next week. We'll see you next Sunday.